No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Welcome back to the show, The Perfect Parlay Pursuit. We are here to break down another perfect parlay. As you can see, we are all doing well with the yearly campaign.
You wouldn't think so. Looking at the intro, I'm the only person who is significantly less fat than and isn't significantly fatter. Dan, you're looking like a string bean in that video. Luke, you got way fatter out of nowhere. I don't know what the hell is going on with you two.
It's funny you say that.
In the gym.
It's funny you say that because today I actually embarked upon a fast. I'm doing a fast. I am on a hunger strike. You know, the fastest direction is a straight line, and I have a wedding coming up. I gotta get in shape. I gotta be looking tight. So today at 2 p.m., I went to the restaurant Kava. You guys like Kava?
Love it.
Kava is one of my favorite fast casual restaurants, and I went today at 2 p.m. and I just crushed a double harasa honey chicken bowl, $18. But it's like $18 at Kava is a lot better than $18 at Taco Bell, and like 2 items off the menu at Taco Bell is $18 now. So it's like I've been doing a lot of math around restaurants lately. It's like even the fast food restaurants, you're not getting in and out for under 20. You know what I mean? And it's like if you take a family there, like I got Taco Bell for me.
In-N-Out Burger, you can definitely get In-N-Out Burger under $20. Easy.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Not for two. No, probably not. Especially if you get a beverage. But that's neither here nor there. I went to Kava, ate a huge bowl, and if you're interested in fasting, first of all, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. But if you're interested in fasting, my preferred way is make sure you eat in the middle of the day, the first day, so that you've eaten, like I've eaten at 2 p.m. I'm not hungry right now at all. All I have to do now is get to sleep, wake up, and then 2 p.m. is like lunchtime. So I just have to go 6 waking hours tomorrow to get to 24. Once you get to 24, now you got skin in the game. Now you got 1 day under your belt. Now the fast has really begun, right? Most people don't go 24 hours, but that's
how do you face your crippling addiction of cookies, Chips Ahoy cookies and peanut butter at 11 p.m.?
Oh my gosh, dude, remind me to tell you guys I did a financial analysis. I literally, to the penny, went through every dollar I spent since my last paycheck to make sure I'm on track with my financial goals. And I categorized it too. So I added up, okay, this is what I spent at Giant. This is what I spent at Starbucks. This is what I spent at the vending machine at work. And when you see the number, nothing will make you want to quit eating cookies and milk like seeing that you spent $125 on just cookies and milk over the course of almost 2 weeks, right? Jeez. So trust me, I have seen the light. When you get hit in the pocket, that's where it hurts the most. So I'm getting hit in the pockets. I'm getting hit in the gut. I'm getting hit everywhere. So we're doing a hiatus from the cookies and milk. I've actually moved past the Chips Ahoy and I'm on to a much classier cookie, Tate's.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Tate's are yummy, and they make these little mini Tate's now. And my grocery store has a sale, like 2 for $5 each if you buy 2. So I get the big Tate's. And then I get the little mini Tate. So it's kind of like you're cutting it. Like I'm cutting the big Tate cookies with the little Tate cookies. And a big bag of Tates and a little bag of minis, that's 2 nights right there. Some combination of them, that's 1 night half, next night half. Now I need to go back to the store. So every other day I'm going to the store to re-up on cookies. It's becoming like akin to a smoker's habit. And it's always been that way for me. I need my nightly cookies, but we're going to get through it. See, where I failed in the past. Welcome to the Perfect Parlay Pursuit, everybody. We'll get back to the diet talk in just a second. For the new people watching the show, we started this year May 9th. May 9th is when our season began 5 years ago when Tony Ferguson took on Justin Gaethje, when Dana White brought sports back to America during the pandemic. That's when we started this podcast just for fun. And since then, we've all hit a perfect parlay. The goal of the podcast being to pick an entire UFC fight card accurately, bet it as a parlay. We've all done that, and we're having a lot of fun with it. Now we're entering what is now year 5, starting this May. And we have a new competition. We all put $1,000 into our bankroll, which might seem like a lot to some people, but at the end of the day, if you divide that by 52 weeks in a year, it's less than $20 a weekend. If you're dividing it throughout the whole year.
Let's see.
So yeah, I mean, so really, the fact that I'm above my $1,000 threshold, Alex is just behind his. Dan has pretty much lost all of his bankroll, but he's still humming along. He is still, and he was actually the last man standing, so he won an award, a prize money from Alex and I of $100 each. And it's been going well. We've really learned a lot about gambling, about bankroll management. This is what this year is about. This year is the marathon year. This is the Navy SEAL boot camp year. This is where we get better as gamblers. We pay more attention to every bet we place. And if you're following along on the Patreon, you see that I track the bets that I place every single week. So there's an open bets Google sheet that I have, a live account for on the Patreon. We're gonna get the Patreon back up soon. They need me to verify my identity. We're gonna do all that. It'll be live again soon. But if you want the open bet sheet, just DM me. I'll get it to you. No problems there. So this weekend we had Caio Baralho versus Jared Cannonier. We'll talk a little bit about that, what went right, what went wrong, and then we will move on to Sean Brady versus Gilbert Burns. This is going to be another Apex Fight Night, UFC Vegas 97 breakdown. We're going to predict all the fights top to bottom, main card and prelims for you here. But first, let's talk a little bit about Caio Baralho versus Jared Cannonier. But before that, the diet talk. Yeah, so I'm doing a fast. I'm going to do at least 3 days. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., that's day 1. Wednesday at 2 p.m., day 2. Thursday at 2 p.m., day 3. If I'm feeling good after that, I might go a 4th day. But then I'm going to have a nice steak. I'm going to break the fast with carnivore diet for a little bit. I'm going to go keto. I'm going to go steak a day.
The keto kid.
All that I'm saving on cookies and milk and also booze, man. When I did my analysis, it was like high noons and Jack Honey. It was a lot of booze that was in there too. I accounted for about $500 of unnecessary expenses, like literally me just spending money on my feelings, eating my feelings, drinking my feelings, right? Things that you don't need. You don't need cookies, you don't need milk, you don't need Starbucks coffee, and you don't need booze. So those 4 things totaled about almost like $500 of unnecessary expenses. So once you see it, once you confront it, the first step to admitting you have a problem is what? Admitting it, right? Admitting it, facing it. A lot of us, we hide behind our debit cards, our credit cards. We hide behind the ethereal concept of spending. But when you force yourself to sit down and add it all up, and that's honestly something gambling has helped me with, because doing this experiment year after, week after week over this year 5, I've had to sit down and go, okay, let's add up what I lost. Let's see all the losing bets. Let's see all the winning bets. And then you start to see the flow of it all, right? So I decided to do it with every aspect of my life now. So we are humming along nicely. We are going to, I took my bankroll from $250-ish to about $1,700 over the Izzy Duplessis card. Lost $300 last weekend. I won some money too, but the net was a loss. Could have been not a loss. And we'll talk a little bit about how and why and all that. There's also some unforced errors. We'll talk a little bit about that. But how did your guys' night go? Take me through the card and your thoughts. We'll start with you, Alex.
I was actually out and about. I did watch most of the card at my girlfriend's sister's house. It was a great experience. Having some cocktails, watching the fights. I won a lot of them. I went 8 out of 11, so only got 3 fights incorrect. The first 2 fights of the night, which is honestly best case scenario when you want to rebuild, and then Valentine later in the night.
And those first 2 were lady fights. Those first 2 were lady fights. Then the Loader versus Valentine fight, that was a Ultimate Fighter finale of a season you didn't really watch necessarily. So it's like can't really feel too bad about going with a massive underdog in a lady fight. I don't care what people say about Kong and how bad Leonardo sucks. Of course, Leonardo sucks, but guys, the Chinese girl was 5-1. I mean, you have to kind of fucking take a shot on a fucking plus 700 underdog at it, dog or pass at the end of the day.
I mean, on top of that, over 1.5. Like, if you're giving me a line for that, I'm going to bet it. Like, for a ladies fight,
I took the under there. So
of course you did. You're a notorious look at what I bet and then fade it.
So anyway, how were the other fights for you? Did you get to watch a good amount of them, or was it an entertaining night for you?
I saw all of them but the Loader fight. That was the only one that I happened to miss, and it's one of the only ones I lost.
You were the only one to pick GM3, and I mean that must have been satisfying.
That was absolutely sensational. I was in and out of the house. The first round went pretty well. I thought GM3 held his own in the first round. Second round, he gets rocked. I come outside. He's like about to get, finished at this point. And I'm like, oh, shit. but GM3 is dangerous, baby. And I knew it all along. And I knew Edmund Shabazian was a little dumb rat and that he wasn't going to be able to get the job done and that GM3 was going to suck him in and then eventually finish him off. No diddy. You got to love that. Edmund Shabazian should be cut from the UFC. The guru told me that GM3 is making 100 and 100 every fight. That's amazing news for GM3. You don't see a guy like that making 100 and 100 every fight. That's great money. I hope he continues to make that money. Luke, you say that's not a lot, but he fights 3 times in a year. He's a $600,000 man if he wins every fight.
See, and I literally broke this down for you in the group chat of why that's not a lot of money. I guess I should just pull it up and read what I wrote because it was all pretty calculated. I mean, I do quick maths, everybody. So let's see. I told
Luke, it's a lot of money for at most.
Okay, here's what I wrote.
Doing 45 minutes of work, you do 45 minutes of work and you get $600,000.
You can't look at it like that. You can't look at it like that, homeboy. Listen, you got to think about the opportunity cost of him choosing this as a career and having no other real career to go to by putting his time into this, right?
No,
so,
GM3 went to college.
Yeah, but it's not really about that, right? It's about, your chosen field and can you retire off of it kind of thing, right? Do you have to go work another job after in some capacity, right? So think on this. This is what I wrote in the group chat, a little peek behind the curtain. If he wins all his fights 3 times a year, that's $600K. That's about less than $400K after taxes. With recent inflation, that's barely upper middle class. At the end of his career, even if he fights for 3 more years, he'll only make another 1.2 mil. So you can't retire on that. He probably won't end up working a W-2 salary job. He'll probably have a lawn cutting business or a gym or some sort of business, right? Which, if you know anything about the statistics of small businesses, most of them fail. So he'll probably end up sinking a bunch of money into it.
Unless he was maxing his Roth IRA this entire time.
Not to mention his manager takes 10%. And if you look at what it says on Tapology, $533,000 in career disclosed earnings. Now, I know that can't be completely accurate, right? So let's just double it. Let's say he's made double what Tapology says he's made over his 53 fights. Let's say he's made $1 million in that time. 17 years of a career. You do $1 million divided by 17 years. That's $58,000 a year. Okay, that's entry level stuff. So
I actually looked up that he is a alto saxophone player, so he could be making some serious coin on the
yeah. There's big money for sax players in the era of AI and a looming depression.
Jazz is coming back, bro. People, yeah, exactly. The blues, jazz, it's all coming back. The sax is coming back.
Well, look, I'm just saying he's got 12 UFC wins, so I doubt he was making 100 and 100 for all 12 of those UFC wins. I bet he didn't start making until the Hamzat fight, so that's only 6 wins. Either way, guys, 6 wins out of 53 total fights where he was making a good living. I don't think that is enough.
6 wins, 200K. That's 1.2 mil. Every fight that he didn't win in between that, he also made 100K.
Okay, so he made 1.2 mil, and then he makes another 1.2 mil, best case scenario over the next 3 years. Again, that is.
But even the fights he lost, he still got $100,000. Luke, I think you're missing that fact. That Gerald Meerschaert is making $100,000 a fight. Gerald Meerschaert has never been in the top 10.
Well, he's a 12-fight UFC vet, and he's got 53 total fights. That's not that. That's like. Yeah, you should be making that. I mean, if you start in the UFC at 15K
he's
or so.
He's never been ranked in the top 10.
Okay, let's think about this.
Or the top 5.
A guy who just gets in the UFC off the Contender Series. They're paying him 15 and 15. He wins, Gerald loses. That guy makes 30, Gerald makes 100. Okay? Now, that guy is going to be getting his paycheck doubled before Gerald does. He's going to be making 30 and 30 before Gerald makes 200 and 200. So, if that guy wins in the next couple of years and Gerald loses, he's making more. He's making he's making 120 right? He's making I don't know the math, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. So my point is, it's not enough money.
Dan, do you agree that is a lot of money for Gerald Meerschaert?
I don't know. I don't even really know.
He lives in Minnesota.
Dan is not a math guy.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
I'm the one who went to business school. You two were history majors. I went to business school. I took economics. I took finance. I took finance. I took economics.
Gen Ed courses. Everybody took those.
You didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I took macro and micro. Huh?
You did not take finance.
He took finance in college.
I took macro and micro.
You took Ian finance.
That's all of economics if you didn't know. It's the small and the big.
Okay. Listen, let's not talk math. let's move on. So it's funny you mentioned the Gerald Meerschaert fight because I had the over 1.5 in that fight. So on a parlay that I had, it was a $40 parlay, $40 bet for, and this actually was a hedge against an existing one that I had that featured Robert Valentine. So I bet over 1.5 GM3 versus Shabazian, which it barely squeaked over, thank goodness. Then I took Marion Santos in that. And then I took Ryan Loder to hedge against another parallel parlay that was succeeding that had Valentine in it. And then I took Tabitha Ricci. So when those 4 won, the 5th leg was Jared Cannonier. It was a $40 bet for $1,407. And I put Cannonier because I had in another parlay Barrio by finish with a lot of the same ones that I built that 5-1 with. So when the fight was about to start, I looked at the 2 men in the octagon. I said, Cannonier's losing this 100%. So, and I told you guys, he's a head case. I need to see how he looks in there before I know if it's the Jared Cannonier that wins or the Jared Cannonier that loses. And he was talking a lot of good shit in the pre-fight press conference. That's why I had to wait till he was in the octagon. He's in the octagon. I see they're offering me $326.64 on my $40 bet for a cash out. I take it. I take it right then and there. I also had a free bet over 1.5 in the Zachary's fight. Tabitha Ricci and Jared Cannonier. That was a free bet to pay $364.89. I obviously that they weren't even offering me a cash out there, but I let that one ride because I was like, well, Cannonier, sure, I'm losing out on 1,100 if Cannonier wins that I could have had, but if he does win, I'll still get another 364, so that'll put me at $680 out of the potential 1,400 or I guess 1,700. But either way, it was a free bet, so I was like, this is a smarter move here. I didn't want to bet a lot on this card. I don't have a lot of faith in Cannonier, so I took the cash out. And then I had a parlay Moraes to finish Magny, Tabitha Ricci, and Barrio by finish with Renan Ferreira, who fights October 19th as a leg in that I could always. I know that line's going to narrow. He's at plus 200 right now, so I was like, well, it's $50 to pay 17.20, but if Ferreira, if as the line narrows, they'll offer me a bigger and bigger cash out, or I'll be able to hedge on Francis a little bit there. So that was a very safe play to have Ferreira in there as well. And plus, I intend on betting a big bet on Ferreira. A little spoiler for you guys, since we don't really talk PFL that much. The fact that Ferreira is a plus 200 dog. Have you seen him stack up against Ngannou? He's a lot bigger. He's got a ground game. He's a good striker as well. Ngannou's coming off getting knocked the fuck out 5 different times by Anthony Joshua. Coming off boxing matches where he's not, I know it's heavyweight, anything can happen, but I am big on Ferreira in that fight as a dog. I'm going to be betting him heavy. So Barrio obviously didn't get the finish. And I was falling asleep watching it, to be honest with you guys. I have a lot to say about that fight, just from a nuts and bolts standpoint. Before Barrio had that really glorious moment in the at the end of the fight, he completely makes Cannonier do the chicken dance, hits him with one of those weird knockout blows. Cannonier crumbles. I thought the ref would have stopped it right then and there. He follows up with massive ground and pound. Okay, now the ref's going to stop it. Continues with the ground and pound. And then the ref never stops it. And this is usually I like Dan Miragliotta for this. But Dan Miragliotta, you're the same motherfucker who stopped the Alistair Overeem fight when he was still on his feet with 1 second left, when he was winning a decision against Jairzinho Rosenstrike. So be consistent is all I ask. When you're Jason Herzog and you stop the fight with Cannonier on his feet, and then you're Jason Herzog and you don't stop Damon Jackson from getting his shit kicked in his last fight, and then when you're Dan Miragliotta and you stop Alistair Overeem on his feet with 10 seconds left when Rosenstrike sells you with the walk-off fucking sell job, and then you don't stop this one, it's like, have some consistency if you're a ref. That's what I kind of hope for and look for, but alas, it was not meant to be. Barrio didn't get the finish, and he's out here in the post-fight press conference saying, I want a title shot. Listen, you need to clean sweep Cannonier unscathed to try to jump in the line against Whitaker, Chimaev, Strickland, Adesanya, Duplessis, and Imavov, okay? Imavov got Cannonier out of there by hook or by crook, however you want to fucking call it. He was beating the fuck out of him, and Herzog stopped the fight.
I think Herzog's in that fight to get stopped more ways than one for Jared Cannonier.
Yeah, right? Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe he tries to make up for it, right? Side note, I was very surprised to see Mark Goddard in there with Israel Adesanya after he stopped him on his feet against Pereira in that one fight. and now he's in there against Duplessis. And I was kind of like nervous seeing Mark Goddard in there because he's one for a makeup call. So I was kind of worried he would do the same thing to Duplessis, like stop it with him still on his feet or some shit. So anyway, my point is, I would have been in a great position if Bryo got the finish. Alas, didn't happen. But Bryo, your fucking eye is swollen. You're cut. You can't even fight for a year getting those stitches healed. Like you're out. You're on the sidelines for a while. And when a guy like that goes in there and uses absolutely no jiu-jitsu, absolutely no attempt to do a takedown, and your whole thing is you want to stand here with Jared Cannonier. I don't know if Sean Shelby or Mick Maynard were talking to him. Cody Safdie with the tinfoil hat. I don't know if they were talking to him in the back saying, we don't want to see none of that grappling bullshit, but that was fucked up. I think Bryo didn't use all his strengths, didn't show a high ring IQ for a fighting nerd. And, everybody said that fight was super entertaining. I was literally falling asleep. Maybe it was because it was 1 a.m. and I went to the Renaissance Festival that day and I was doing a lot of drinking, but I was falling asleep up until which was, I was ready to coast off into a nice slumber as soon as the fight ended. And then he almost knocks him out and it jolts me awake, only to not get the finish and me still to lose money. And now I'm wide awake, pissed, So that was kind of the story of my night a little bit there. But, I had to give my fiance the talk about vibes again. I was home with the baby. She was at a concert. She comes home and wants to cuddle on the couch with me when I got all these parlays still going. I'm like, I'm in war mode. And you're coming in and now I can't even move my hands. I can't start scrolling through my open bet sheet. I can't start looking at my phone and I'm not, I need access. I need to be in the Temple of Doom. I need to be in the Tunnel of Chaos. I need to be locked in, touching stuff, sliding stuff, talking in the Discord, looking at FanDuel, looking at DraftKings, looking at my open bet sheet, making calculations. That's what I need to be. And she crushed the vibes. And I told her that. I sent her to bed. I really did. I said, during the Tabitha Ricci fight, I said, you need to go to bed. I was like, you're falling asleep on me. I'm too anxious right now. You need to go to bed. And she listened. So to her credit, she did go to bed when I sent her to bed. But it was and the Ricci fight. So we'll get into that one. You can talk about the main event, guys, if you want before that. But what did you think about Bryo's performance, Dan? And your performance on the night? How did your night kind of stack up?
I broke even on the night, which was totally fine because I had some pretty big plays, as is tradition for me. Neil Magny kind of blew it for me. I had some high hopes for him. At least, take it over 2.5 rounds. That kind of crushed me a little bit. Shabbat,
Neil Magny matters.
Certainly matters. I followed that through to my detriment. Shabazian obviously crushed me. Good on Alex. Josiane Nunes, a dog I had hopes for. She was kind of putting it on late. Too little, too late.
And in that fight, she knocks her in the eye with a knuckle, and is allowed to call Cavalcante is allowed to call her own foul. Mark Smith, one of the worst refs in the business.
Yeah,
a Joe Roganite. He's out here allowing a fighter to call her own foul like she's Michael fucking Jordan, and that should have been a fight-ending sequence. Really, she knocked her in the eye. She can't continue. If you wave a fight off and we look at the camera and it wasn't a foul, fight's over.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then, Leonardo, I thought she was Texas tough. I thought she'd be able to go over 1.5 rounds. Nope. So, yeah, a couple things crushed me there. But, I also played it a little bit safe, enough at least to get my money back. No losses on the night. As for Caio Borralho, it was an okay performance. I mean, Cannonier's a tough out. Even Izzy couldn't really, figure him out, couldn't get him out of there. How many times has Cannonier been knocked out? I mean, even the last fight, which was technically a knockout, I mean, he was still on his feet. So, Barao got him to the ground, like a legit knockdown. So, in his first legitimate test, his last fight was against Paul Craig. So, a bit of a jump in competition for him. He's still a young fighter. So, I don't know. We'll see if he's top 5 quality, but good enough performance for me. I can't hate on him.
I just didn't like everybody saying this guy crushes Duplessis. Slow your fucking
No.
All these fair weather, recency bias fans that just can't even. Everything's like rush. We gotta rush. It's like, guys, chill the fuck out.
No,
people just don't like.
Imagine if we did that in the NFL. Imagine if the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence comes out and throws a great game against the fucking Buccaneers or some shit, and then they're like, he needs to play Mahomes. He could get him in there with Mahomes next game, for the Super Bowl. Next game.
Luke, you're an Eagles fan. you're an Eagles fan, so that's not how you think. You're automatically pessimistic. So every other team actually does think that way. Just in case you didn't know. Just in case you didn't know, they're like,
it's not like these people are Barrio fans. They're just
people went to Cleveland Browns games every game when they went 1-15, or 0-16. People went to every Detroit Lions game when they went 0-16. Like, people are dumb. They're like, this is the week.
At least you're from that city and shit. You know what I mean? And if you're from Brazil and you want Barrio to get a title shot, I feel you. But if you were a fan of his going in, but these people who
just don't like DDP.
Some of these people have never seen Barrio fight, and they watch him one time. They go, "This guy should get it." It's like you're not even a part of this conversation. You know?
They know that's what's going to get them on the screen. They know Steve-O knows if he says that, it makes it look like he's watching a fight night. He can get on the screen. People will see his name, associate Steve-O's hot sauce to the UFC. He might sell a couple extra bottles. You know how it is, Luke. Come on. My winning bet slips on the night, though, were Francis Marshall, Gerald Mershart, Nathan Fletcher. The one was voided, so it was only 30 to pay 178, and then I had over 1.5 in the shit. What fight was that? Sorry. Over 1.5 in Zach Reese versus Medina, Francis Marshall, Tabitha Ricci, and Caio Barallo. 40 to pay, $432. I used some of the winnings I got from that Frankie Marshall bet. Great performance by him. He absolutely beat the shit out of Bazooka. Bazooka, just New York dum-dum, doesn't know how to do anything. Aljamain Sterling thought he was up going into the third. So, like,
he got the deck twice in round one.
I know. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Aljamain Sterling was telling him to get a takedown in round 3. Aljamain Sterling was like, let's get a takedown here. So Aljamain Sterling thought there was a chance he won one of the rounds. You know what I mean? Like, absolute idiocracy. Frankie Marshall beat the shit out of him, pillar to post. He was winning the striking exchanges too, winning the grappling exchanges. Better fighter all around. Gerald Mershart, absolute fucking dog. Love him. Great guy. Great fighter. Absolute. Edmund Shabazian is a textbook guy who gets fucked up by Gerald Mershart and looks good while he gets fucked up by Gerald Mershart. He looks good up until he doesn't. And that's how Gerald Mershart makes guys look. That was the best pick of the night for me personally. 8 out of 11. Only got 3 fights wrong. 2 lady fights. Bullshit lady fights. And, the loader fight.
I have a lot to say about.
I would have won more, but I hedged a lot on Cannonier throughout the fight. I kept grabbing him at low odds because he kept kind of tagging Caio, and I thought Jared Cannonier won round. I don't know if it was 2 or 3, and I thought it might be tied up going into the 3rd round, and the line started evening out. At one point, it was a pick'em, and Jared Cannonier started getting a little bit of favoritism in terms of the line during the fight. So I thought it was a good fight all around. I agree with Dan. I think Caio Barallo performed great. That's a hole in his game that people would look to expose, and he took a guy who wants to strike with him into deep water and, left him so stunned. He left Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier was doing the chicken dance out there, man. He was literally stuck. He was stuck in that position for a few seconds. Those are some of the weirdest things that happen in there,
freezers,
yeah.
Well,
and he hit him with a couple of those throughout the fight where he froze Jared Cannonier in place, and then Jared Cannonier had wobbly legs.
Corkscrewing your punch. There's actually this kickboxer guy who was showing it in a video where he was like, I twist my knuckles at the last second to create a corkscrew effect, and if you hit him on the hairline or the temple, that'll make him have that reaction. It's an interesting kind of take. I thought it was pretty cool. But Bazooka, talk about putting the cart before the horse. He puts the haircut before the performance. This is a haircut guy. He's a New York idiot, like you said, complete New York dumbass. More worried about texting people. He's probably got a million girls in his DMs that he's talking to, and no girls anybody knows, right? Just like Long Island, New Jersey trash, right? Like and he's just constantly out, like with his chain and his haircut and his plain white T-shirt and his Air Force Ones. You can just tell. Fuck him. What is he? Where is he strong at in the fight game? What area of the fight is he strong at? None. So open and shut case. Only guy to kind of be a little bit as disappointing as him is Zach Reese to me. I think, if you're going by Nate Diaz rules, Medina won that fight. He won it 15 taunts to 0. Because Medina was taunting him. He was doing this a lot. So I feel like, if you're going by Diaz rules, you give it to him. But Medina is a pussy. He sucks. He's only really good at taking an ass whooping. But Reese, he's not good either because he's getting hit with shots. He's making it sloppy. He's giving Medina opportunities. He's ending up on his back. You got to fight like George St. Pierre in there. You have to be putting them where they're weakest, getting them out of there. He didn't shoot for a takedown fast enough. He could have submitted him more easily. That was his path to victory. You should have known you weren't putting this guy away if you watched any of his fights before. That's why the over 1.5 was so obvious to me, because Medina's hard to put away. He doesn't give up when it comes to the striking. He takes a beating. He gets rocked. He doesn't care. He calls for more. So if you're Reese, I think, he was not passing, not transitioning quickly enough, not wanting it enough, not being like a dog on a bone when it comes to the submission attempts. Really disappointed in Reese. It's like, you got one more, Reese. You already got knocked out by Cody Brundage. Now you, as a minus 1,000 favorite, can't finish this guy. It's like, I think, that these are signs. These are signs, you know what I mean, of just not who we think you are. I don't like guys that get these massive – I'm grading on a curve. I'm grading on a curve. You know why I'm grading on a curve? Because you're getting matched up on a curve. You're getting matched – if you want to be matched up on a curve and have to fight these scrubs on the way up, then I'm going to grade you on a curve. And I'm going to say, well, if you're that good and if you want to be a champion, then get this guy the fuck out of there. It's a fight. It's what if he was in your house? If he's in your house, this fight's still going on. So you got to finish the fight, in my opinion.
He is taking accountability. I think he called it a Waffle House brawl, disparagingly amongst himself.
Good.
So he's taking some accountability. Give him that.
Kong Wang did her job. Cavalcante bitched out with that self-call. I think Lion Top and Borishev was pretty close. I would have liked to see Lion Top get the win, but he kind of, some of these guys from South America just don't have that extra gear yet. You know what I mean? They don't have that. And we're seeing it happen with Mexico. You're seeing the guys like, who's that one guy we were talking up that is performing really well? You're seeing it from Brazil. You see it from Russia. You see it from Brazil. You see it from America. You see it a little bit. You've seen embers bubbling with Mexico, but some of these South American countries, the Japanese, they don't have it yet. In terms of the UFC, their regional upbringing, they don't have that extra gear to be elite yet. And I want to start seeing more countries emerge as opportunistic contenders, right? So I talked about pretty much all the ones I wanted to talk about.
When you think of Mexican fighters, you think of Diego Lopes, and he's Brazilian.
Yeah. Moraes and Magny, this isn't defending yourself. You know what I mean? Like, when you just are covering up like this and you're flattened out, getting fucking rained down on, like, that's so bad for a veteran. Like, you can't be in that position. When you're in a fight and you are that much of a vet, you've done this that many times, and you can't even defend yourself. You can't even take it the distance. That's pathetic. That's like a baseball player going out and holding the bat upside down. And he's like, what? It's like, you should know how to hold the bat at least, right? I don't care if you strike out, but you're not even holding the bat right. Like, some of these guys, they're not even doing the right things fundamentally or otherwise. They're not even able to protect themselves. They're not even able to get out of a bad position. It's like, this is 101 level stuff, It's crazy. And the last thing I'll say, Tabitha Ricci, I love you. I'm so glad you got that win. But damn, if I didn't think she was going to get the win, to be honest with you. It's only because she gets awarded decisions that she kind of doesn't deserve, and Hill gets not awarded decisions she kind of does deserve historically throughout both of their careers. And that was what played out right then and there. I thought we were going to see a little bit of a correction, but I thought she won. I thought she was.
I knew once Angela Hill came to the weigh-ins with the Neil Magny haircut, it was over for her.
I thought that Ricci was
She had the Neil Magny, like, what are the things you pull down at the gym, the little braids.
Yeah,
the Neil
yeah,
Magny braids that are like thick and like there's only like 6 of them. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Once you pulled up with the Neil Magny haircut, I knew it was over.
I picked against Angela Hill in every single fight she's had because she's gangly, thin, and she's 40, right? So I don't like picking above 35-year-olds. So over the last 5 years of this show, I've always picked against Angela Hill. And she's won most of the times I've picked against her and overperformed my expectations on the night. She's getting better and better, and I don't know how these girls have such a problem with her. I mean, she's a good striker, but she doesn't hit hard. She doesn't have any weight behind her punches. She's like Izzy, you know what I mean? She is too thin. You know, she's too small, too frail. These girls should be picking her up, locking the hands. Ricci just couldn't fucking do anything with the takedown. Ricci shoots in, gets the control, gets the underhooks, locks her hands, and then stops. Ricci, finish it.
Took her down a few times.
Chain this shit together, get low, shoot a blast double, or get high. And I don't want to see this head and arm throw bullshit with these ladies anymore. I'm sick of it.
Did you see
the wrestling? When it comes to them getting in the wrestling ring, there's nothing up there. They're all oatmeal north of the eyebrows. They're all.
Did you see what DC was saying about why?
I had it on mute.
DC, no. This was on DC and Chill, the Good Guy Bad Guy podcast. He was saying that the maybe the reason that the women are getting them is because some of them wear the shirts, and with the bras, there's also like a little bit of friction there. Like when he said he would wrestle, he would keep it all in the shorts because that's where you could get the most friction and traction to make sure you're getting what you need. So he was saying that's probably why it's more successful in women's MMA because some of them wear shirts. Some of them, I mean, either you wear a shirt or a bra, and one of the two, you're at least giving up some type of friction there where they can get that friction that they need to pull that off.
Makes sense.
I was telling my girlfriend that it's just rudimentary bullshit, bad MMA because fat guys in high school, every heavyweight you've ever known, that's the only move he knows. The headlock throw. So I would say it's just bad skill. What is it? Skill issue. You know,
they're bad at defending it because their skill is bad, and that's all they know how to do because their skill is bad. You know, you don't see chicks going for blast doubles like ever, right? I mean, who goes? I mean, I want to see Marab style wrestling from some of these girls. Tabitha Ricci should be able to do what Marab does with that body type, with that build to a girl like Angela Hill. She should be able to be honest, walk her to the other side and drop her in front of her own corner. That's what I want.
But to be honest, the men can't do it either. Like Andre Munoz or Muniz. Like, is he like a world beater when it comes to a blast double? Like all these jiu-jitsu guys can't even do a double leg.
Gone are the days of a George St. Pierre. I mean, you got to hit the jab, time it. You got to, I mean, throw an overhand right, pick the knee, do a single, something. But like these guys
shoot the bucks.
Yeah, you got to set it up with the hands and then get down. Like you got to get their hands high. Bilal did it. Bilal does it really well. Khabib, he does it really well. And you got to chain it together. You go for one takedown, switch to another. Islam does that better than almost anybody in the sport.
Hating aside, Bilal Muhammad does look a lot like GSP out there.
He looks like Canelo. And speaking of that, let's take it into the main event of this weekend's card. We got Sean Brady versus Gilbert Burns. And Sean Brady, somebody who felt the Canelo-like hands of Bilal. My opinion on that fight, Sean should have never been in that fight.
One of the only guys Bilal has ever finished in his...
Yeah. And he was still standing, right? And the thing is, he was eating a lot of punches. It wasn't necessarily like an unjustified stop. I like to see guys hit their butt, you know what I mean? Unless it's an absolute. I mean, if Calvin Kattar didn't get the fight stopped, in some of his fights where he doesn't hit his butt, how are these guys, right? It can't be that much of an onslaught if they're still standing, unless they're like not. Holly Holm, I mean, remember that boxing fight she fought where she was like knocked out in the ropes? The ref like undoes her hands from the ropes and just pushes her forward. It's like, let these guys hit the deck. They got to hit the deck. So I think, you could kind of call it a bad stoppage, but at the end of the day, he was getting pieced up on the feet by Bilal Muhammad, eating a shitload of strikes in a fight he should have never been in. That was his Philadelphian in him that even made him go do that. He said in the pre-fight interviews, I never even left the country. And now he's going to Abu Dhabi. So you should have never been in Abu Dhabi fighting a guy with the last name Muhammad. You should have been at home watching the Birds game. And that was a stupid decision on his part. He shouldn't have left the country to do that. A lot of these guys out of that gym, whether it's Petroski, Pfeiffer, or Brady, they all kind of
fighting tonight too.
Well, they all kind of let their ego get the best of them. Petroski going in there against Michelle Pereira, that fucking stallion, like, dude, on short notice. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? Your shit's gonna get kicked in. Like, they make dumb decisions, right? They need to be kind of protected from their own ego at times. But I do like Sean Brady. I think he's phenomenal. I think this fight, if it was a jiu-jitsu match, I think Sean Brady would trash Gilbert, because Gilbert is a washed-up war horse who has not dedicated his life to jiu-jitsu as he has MMA now. Sean is still drilling jiu-jitsu, kind of like, I would say Sean Brady is to jiu-jitsu as Bo Nickel is to wrestling, in the sense that Bo Nickel is still training wrestling every fucking day with the Penn State boys. Sean Brady, if you look at him in the gym, he has not yet, and that's why he got finished by Muhammad, he has not yet, like, put in the hours for the striking. He's still very game plan focused, it seems to me, by not ever watching his training footage or being in his gym with him and knowing fuck all about how he trains. But my feeling is that he's in there grappling a lot still with high-level grapplers that are young. It's my feeling that he's not investing the time in the striking just yet. Now, this might be a fight where he is, because maybe, but if I'm him, I don't want to strike with Gilbert Burns for a long period of time. If I'm him, I'm more afraid of Burns' hands at this stage in his career than I am his jiu-jitsu, because Burns he's not like a submit you off your back kind of guy. He's not like he needs that dominant position to get the submission. And I think if Brady can go in there, take him down, I think he can pound Gilbert Burns out on the ground, or possibly even get a submission win over Gilbert Burns. Probably not, because I think going for a choke against Burns with his skill level and his neck strength is going to be really hard. But I think he can at least control him on the ground, win some sequences, tire him out. And, Burns, the last time he impressed me was the Hamzat Chimaev fight. His arm, he showed his fragility in the Muhammad fight. He got hurt very early in that, and that doesn't mean anything to me, except, it's not like, oh, but if he just didn't get hurt. It's like, no, exactly, guys. See the writing on the walls. He's not even able to go hard anymore. Imagine what's happening to him in training. I think that Burns is on his way out. He's on the podcast with Moicano.
And who?
Your guy. Who's your guy? Matty Betts. Shout out to Matty Betts. Welcome on the show anytime, fourth chair. But I'm picking against your boy. I'm going with Sean Brady. I like the line. I like the value. And I won't be fooled again. I picked Sean Brady against Bilal Muhammad. I was wrong. We were all very wrong about Bilal Muhammad. That was his time to lose, to learn, so that this could be the time to win and cement himself for the potential rematch in the future. I don't think he'll get it. I don't think he'll even come close to getting it. There's a long line at that weight division, but I think Bilal will be out one way or the other by that time. I think he'll get the rematch when Bilal loses the title before he gets it for the title against Bilal. So going with Sean Brady emphatically. Sean Brady probably by unanimous decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes Gilbert Burns on the ground with ground and pound most likely, but possibly, like I said, possibly a submission. I could see him pounding him, Gilbert Burns doing some kind of transition to try to escape, him locking up a leg. I could see him hitting Burns with a leg lock and Burns tapping. That's what I see in my mind's eye. I see him hammer fisting, rolls into a knee bar, something like that. So that's what I'm predicting in my mind's eye. Sean Brady by TKO or Sean Brady by leg lock, knee bar type submission.
I think, and listen, let me preface this. I am the biggest fan of Matty Betts in the entire world. Okay. But Matty Betts, your grandfather told you once, blood is thicker than water. Or, pardon me, blood is thicker than water. Your grandfather told you that, and that is why I'm taking Sean Brady. Sean Brady by unanimous decision. Sean Brady is going to win this by unanimous decision. Gilbert Burns, gritty guy. I don't think he gets submitted by Sean Brady. I think that he just has a little bit too much pride to let Sean Brady submit him. But American Jiu-Jitsu is the best Jiu-Jitsu in the world. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu sucks. You've never learned a takedown in your life. Learn a double and then talk to me. Sean Brady is younger, faster, better, stronger, hungrier. I'm sorry, Matty Betts. I'm sorry, Moicano. Look at my notes. I got it right there. Where is it? Matty Betts, Moicano, and Matty Betts. I even got hearts around you. Matty Bet. Not around Moicano, though. I love Moicano, but Matty Betts, you got a special place in my heart. And like your grandfather said, blood is thicker than water. So we're going with water on this one. We're going with the blood, and that's Brady, Philly blood.
Dan, before you start talking, I want to just say this. I'm looking at Gilbert Burns' MMA record, right? He's never been submitted in MMA. That tells me Brady is going to want to do something that is like, I've never done this before, or it's never been done before. That's my statement, right? Now, he got knocked out by Jack Della Maddalena in March. That March 9th, my daughter's birthday.
Don't say that.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that. But he got knocked out by Jack Della Maddalena in round 3 in a fight that he was kind of winning, you know. He's never been submitted, but I think a 5-month turnaround for a knockout loss for a 38-year-old or 37-year-old, however old he is, you know, this is that 170-pound weight class where you see, you know, in kind of matinee main event title shot fights, the 5-year gap makes a big difference statistically, right? So I love that 5-year gap that exists between the two. I think 31 at 170, Sean Brady's in his prime. And, you know, Burns is coming off a knockout loss. Now, here's what I'll say. Although he's never been submitted, Burns, in MMA, he in 2021 did a grappling match against Lucas Barbosa. Now, Lucas Barbosa, you know, he's got grappling losses. Like, he's not undefeated. He's lost to Gordon Ryan. He's lost to Mateus Siniz. Shout out to Mateus Siniz, the old jiu-jitsu coach. He lost to, Roberto Abreu. He lost to Kyle Boehm. He lost to Felipe Andrew. He lost to Roberto Abreu 3 times. He does have a win. He does have a no. Sorry, He also
lost to Craig Jones too.
He lost to Craig Jones, which, you know, no shame there. But I'm just saying, like, just to give you
guys. Luke, you're crazy. Lucas Barbosa is really good. Hulk, like you just said. Oh yeah, he lost Mateus Diniz and Gordon Ryan. Like, they're nothing. They're like 2 of the top 5 guys in the world.
They're the fucking best. I'm not saying that they're not.
like that's crazy. And Gilbert Burns isn't training jiu-jitsu as much. He's training MMA. He's down there with house music guy. Oh,
I know, but you're missing what I'm trying to say here, which is that if Gilbert Burns got submitted by Gordon Ryan, it'd be one thing, but he's getting submitted by a guy who's gotten submitted by guys and lost jiu-jitsu matches himself, and that's his primary focus. That's a guy who's 2-2 in MMA. He submitted Gilbert Burns.
Everyone gets submitted by Gordon Ryan, though. Everyone does.
Not Pat Downey.
I think he did get submitted by Gordon Ryan.
I don't know. I think that went to decision. But look, you know, I'm just trying to say that even, you know, the guy who most recently submitted him, you know, he's been submitted recently, right? He's been submitted, and hey, he did get submitted by Craig Jones with a heel hook. He did get submitted by Lucas Barbosa. He did get submitted by who else? That's all I can see on Langer. That's all I can see on
Jake Shields.
No, those are losses, but I'm saying he got finished in jiu-jitsu by these guys. So without even worrying about
saying grappling losses, Jake Shields overtime escapes.
So he's getting submitted by guys when he doesn't even need to worry about punches. What's he going to have to worry about when Sean Brady's doming him up? You know what I mean? In his concussed ass head. So I think Brady by submission is live. I like it. I'll be taking a look at it from a betting perspective. And then, you know, Dan Hooker knocks out Burns. Jack Della knocks out Burns. Khamzat Chimaev fucking fucks him up on the feet. You know what I mean? I think that there's a lot of ways for Brady to win and a lot of ways for Brady to get the finish. So I'm going to be looking Brady by finish, and also Brady by decision.
And also Brady by TKO.
Brady every which way. Brady by KO, Brady by submission, Brady by decision. I'm betting it all every which way. Brady 3 ways. That's what I'm going to call it.
All right, let's make it a official Brady 3-way because I will triple P certify him. We're
the Brady bunch, baby. We're the Brady
bunch. Can't go with the 38-year-old at this point in time, like you guys said. At 170, 38 is just too much of a mountain to climb. If we look at the resume, you know, some of these wins are not aging too well. You got Jorge Masvidal at the end of his career, Neil Magny, you know, Stephen Thompson in a super lackluster fight, and it just seems like every time there's a step up in competition, you get to that next tier, the top 5 fighters, you know, he'll put in some good performances. The Usman fight, he had, some success in the first round. He had a lot of success against Chimaev, but he's just never going over the top, getting it done. This is a little bit of a different fight because Sean Brady is not at that caliber yet, but he is a young, hungry guy coming off of a loss. And now at this point in time, again, we have a 38-year-old. So I like it stylistically. I like it from the intangibles perspective. I'm liking Sean Brady, Triple P certify him.
She'll be certified Sean Brady. Dan, why don't you take us through Silva versus Andrade? What are your thoughts here? I know you probably got a big take on. You're the ladies' man of the show.
Big take, Jake. I like Natália Silva here. She's pretty chalked up. I think she's like minus 270 last I checked, but for very good reason. I think she's gonna be way faster than Andrade. I think typical Andrade, she's gonna be plodding forward, throwing big bombs, but Silva's footwork is really good. She's not only landing a lot of strikes, really good kicks, but she's evasive. She's getting out of there. So I think there's going to be a bit of a matador type performance in this matchup. And this is a setup job if the UFC has ever made one, right? And it's quite often with Andrade at this stage in her career where she's matching up against ladies who are the UFC wants to propel forward and get some top 5 matchups. So Silva for the win. Silva by decision, although I can't imagine that you would get super great odds on that. So, maybe just stick with the money line. But Andrade is obviously still tough. Probably not going to get knocked out. Silva's not a knockout threat per se, although, obviously a kick to the head is probably going to be knocking out a good amount of people. But let's just keep it simple. Natália Silva money line.
Well, Andrade, won her last 2. I think she's the rightful dog here, but Silva hasn't really done anything impressive, in my opinion. Sure, she knocked out Victoria Leonardo, who hasn't. Other than that, her UFC, she knocked out Teresa Bleda, who was 6-0 at the time. And then decision against Andrea Lee, decision against Vivia Rougeau. I like that Andrade has fought more recently. I like that she's been in there with Marina Rodriguez, who's pretty tough, right? I like that Andrade was in the corner of Santos, and she looked pretty good. Like when he came out and hugged her, I was like, damn, Andrade's looking freaking jacked, So I think if the stars align, I could see Andrade getting the win here. Will I be putting it on all my parlays? Probably not. But I will be looking to hedge out on Andrade if the time comes and I'm live with a lot of bets by that point. Official pick, I'm going to say that of the 2, I like Andrade here. Neither dog won in the last ladies matchup that we had. So I think Andrade is just as good of a dog as any. She has some really great wins over great competition. And she's been in the sport a long time. And like I said, if she's training with that guy Santos, who looked really good, then it makes sense to give her a look. So I'm going to pick Andrade officially for the show. But I've been notoriously wrong with a lot of female underdogs lately. I'm just kind of waiting for my boat to come in,
Quick point, Alex, before you hop in that I forgot to mention here. The Rougeau fight, I think, is like a perfect primer for this fight, right? It's very similar comp. You got a short jack Brazilian girl who throws bombs. So I think if she was able to get past that test with a girl who's probably got a little bit more left in her tank than Andrade, then I think this is not a cakewalk, but, pretty solid.
By the way, the other week when I pressed against my ingrown fingernail to prove that I was tougher than Tafa and I wouldn't yell out in pain, it has now resulted in
bro, get that off the screen.
It has now resulted in a full-blown infection, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fucking help myself. Will a doctor just put me on antibiotics? Will they cut it open for me? Will they drain it? Like, I need to get this thing looked at. It is causing me a lot of distress. So maybe pressing down on it as I did was not the smartest thing in the world that I could have done for it.
Maybe wash your hands, you filthy animal.
I really do wash them. But this is, it's my finger clicking hand. I'm at work, I'm clicking buttons, I'm punching combinations, I'm doing stuff. So it's like, no, I do need to wash my hands. I feel you on that. I think that Tafa might have cursed me. You know what I mean? I got the Takaloa curse on my finger, and but we'll hopefully this fast will cure it, because Mark Twain always said whenever anything's ailing me, I just take a few days off of eating and I'm cured. So let's hope that the fast cures it.
Guys, I feel like I do it every single time we talk about Andrade, but let's just take a look at her resume here, right? Her only losses in her career: Jennifer Maia in 2012, when Jennifer Maia holy cow, how good could Jennifer Maia possibly be in 2012 if she is that good at like 40 years old? How good she is now. Liz Carmouche fought for a title. Both of those ladies fought for a title. Her next loss, Marion Reneau, right? She's a championship winner, right? No, never mind. That's the wrong girl. That is a bad loss. Sorry. Terrible loss. But Marion Reneau wasn't 40 years old at this time. Okay.
She might have been.
No.
The only time that she's in my UFC memory, she's 40.
This is okay, but this is 2015.
Yeah.
Raquel
She's
Pennington.
50 now.
Raquel Pennington, current UFC champion. Joanna Jacek, former UFC champion. Wei Li Zhang, former champion. Rose Namajunas, former champion. Valentina Shevchenko, former champion. Erin Blanchfield, future champion. Zhao Yananyan, amazing. Tatiana Suarez, future champion. So you look at her resume of her losses. Her losses. I mean, she has even better wins than those girls. So, she beat Rose Namajunas. She slammed her on her damn head. She made her look like fucking 11 from Stranger Things when she was getting battered by Ragnarok or whatever the fuck the villain's name is in that show. We got to go with Andrade here. Testosterone. Male physique. We go with Justin Bieber against Silva. I love Silva. Silva's got a bright future, but Andrade is just tougher. Andrade has nothing else, and that's a fact. Andrade wins this. This is my Gerald Meerschaert pick of the week. This is my Cody Safick MMA dog of the night.
One thing I'll say is the last time she fought at 125 was against Lauren Murphy, and she did win a decision, but you probably should be getting Lauren Murphy the fuck out of there, right? Other times, that she's won. She beat Amanda Lemos by triangle choke at 115. Her last two fights were at 115. This fight, I'm trying to figure out, it's flyweight, so 125. So
big body, wide body, Calabasas. And
will she get? Will she get tired,
But Natália Silva is not necessarily like a lanky girl. She's always small framed in there with everybody she's with.
Common opponent Marina Rodriguez, in Thunder Fight 14, an undefeated Marina Rodriguez beat Natália Silva to give her one of her 5 losses that she has. So,
and they say MMA math doesn't work. It's the only science we have in this sport.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So 2 of us are going with Andrade. Dan is sticking with the favorite, Natália Silva. Okay. Next, we got Kyle Nelson versus Steve Garcia. Love and violence for this one. Even though they're both tough as dog shit, I feel like somebody's going down. I don't actually know. Decision on this one. What am I saying? They're both very tough. I kind of want to take Steve Garcia, but I feel like the Cinderella story might come to an end. Kyle Nelson is a big-time party spoiler. 4-4 in the UFC. Finished Bill Algeo. Beat Padilla, beat Builder, decision loss to Herbert, knocked out by Billy Quarantillo, took Doohoo Choi to a draw, finished Polo Reyes. What do you guys think about this one? He beat Kama Worthy. That was a fight I think that happened outside of the UFC. Yeah, it did, but I don't know. Kyle the Monster Nelson is motivated as ever. He loves his wife. He's he really thinks he's going to win. I'm going to go with Kyle Nelson here. Steve Garcia does impress. He's great, but I don't see him knocking out Kyle Nelson. And I've seen him knocked out, by Maya Shate and when they shipped him over to China to lose. I don't know. I'm really torn on this fight. I think it's going to be really a good fight. What are the odds here? Looks like
Nelson's like plus 150.
Yeah, Kyle Nelson's slight dog. Steve Garcia. I like betting Steve when he's a dog, I think Steve's a better fighter, but I think in a fight, if this fight plays out, I think it's anybody's fight. I think it's anybody's fight. And in a coin flip fight, I want my money on the underdog.
Quick question: How tough is Chepe Mariscal?
Tough as nails.
Steve Garcia knocked him out.
Yeah.
How tough
Okay.
is Luis Pena, the Violent Bob Ross?
Ask
He
his wife.
lost to him.
Ask his wife.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think. Listen, I don't. I mean, ask his wife. I guess he didn't say anything
I
wrong
don't
there. I don't
get that either.
know. So anyway, I'll go with Steve Garcia then. No, Kyle Nelson. I'm not being switched. Kyle Nelson.
I'm going with Steve Garcia. I think Kyle Nelson is a tough son of a gun, but this is Mexico versus Canada. This is the fight for the border, baby. And we're shutting one of them down. Whatever one wins this, I'm down to let him in. And then the other one we shut down forever. Give me Steve Garcia. I'm down with the Mexicans. I want the Mexicans. Fuck the Canadians. I'll only take the truckers.
I'm going to ride with my boy Kyle Nelson here. Bet him in the past. He's done me well. I like him in this matchup. I think Steve Garcia is a killer be killed fighter. Doesn't often win by by decision, which on its face, like you would think, oh, this is amazing. He's just knocking everyone out left and right. But what happens when he doesn't? What happens when he runs into a Canadian and buzzsaw named Kyle Nelson, who has a granite chin, keeps moving forward? I see Steve Garcia having a really good first round, but wilting midway through the second and into the third round. Kyle Nelson always, he finds ways to win, even when he's getting pieced up by Blake Builder in the first, Du Ho Choi. He overcomes adversity quite a bit. He can do some wrestling. He's got power in his hands in his own right. And again, very durable, keeps coming forward. So I like this matchup for Kyle Nelson. This isn't like, what's his face? The English guy, the Black Country Banger. Real slick on his feet. Jai Herbert. Yeah. I don't think Steve Garcia is as slick as Jai Herbert, which I think is Kyle Nelson's last loss. So I like Kyle Nelson here.
All right, Alex, you can take this next one away. Alessandro Nono Costa versus Matt Danger Schnell. One guy in Costa got a knockout 3 months ago against Kevin.
I want to take the next one away first.
Okay, fine. Costa got a knockout in his last fight against Bjorgas. He knocked him out on the ground 3 months ago, whereas Schnell got knocked out 5 months ago. Steve Erceg landed that amazing straight right left hook and put him down. And you'll remember that was the fight where Shrek, the fucking worst ref in the business, Chris Taglioni, he comes up to him after the fight and goes, I don't know what was worse, the punch or your head hitting the ground after. You'll see it. You'll see it on the screen. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Don't ever talk to me. He needs to get way better bedside manner. And by bedside manner, I mean no ref should have any bedside manner. There's no reason to congratulate somebody, no reason to slap somebody on the butt, no reason to say good job to anybody. You have no opinion. You should be cold and objective in there, okay? I don't want to see any fucking favoritism. So fuck you, Chris Taglioni. You wear Velcro shoes. You drive a bus for a living. That's my vision for your future. Matt Schnell, 2 knockout losses within a year and a half, 34-year-old 125-pounder. Don't care that he's 5'8", because it just means he's going to have a worse weight cut, and it's probably why he's getting knocked out so much. The 5'4" short king, Alessandro Costa, only has lost to the same kind of guys. Steve Erceg by decision 9 months ago. Amir Albazi a year and 8 months ago. No shame there. Took the requisite time off 6 months after getting KO'd by Albazi. Came back and got a win over Jimmy Flick. Knocked him out. I'm taking Nono Costa. Don't love the odds. We'll only take him by finish, in some capacity. So not really a bettable fight. Not a fight I want to bet too much on, but I'm pretty sure Schnell is not going to rebound here. I think his career is pretty much over at this point. No offense. I like Matt Schnell. He's a good guy. I don't know if he's a good guy.
Costa is a rising talent. He's been doing nothing but improving. The 2 losses, Erceg and Albazi, obviously top of the line for the division. And as Luke said, Matt Schnell at 34 years old at flyweight with all those miles on him, all those knockout losses to his resume. Yeah, it's not going to be getting better from here. And Costa's really good. I've been super impressed with him. His last fight, he totally screwed me over. The Borjas fight, I was with Alex for that. Time crying in his lap. He got me through the night. But I like Costa here. Minus 350, I think, on the money line. Easy chalk.
Okay. Alex, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Matt Schnell by split decision.
Interesting. Well, you'll get great odds on that. So no trophy certification for Costa. Any reason?
Yeah, I just think he has a little bit more dog in him. You guys brought up the losses of, our guy, Costa. I love Costa as much as the next guy, but we also have losses against Urseg. That's, homeboy Schnell's last loss. Nicolau, good fighter. Roy Val, great fighter. Pantoja, great fighter. And then, fought some good guys early in his career too. Tim Elliott, Rob Font. So I think Matt Schnell has withstood the test of time. I think he is going to end up winning this fight. Gritty decision, going to be coming on late, have a little bit more dog in him than Costa does. Costa's going to get a little bit more than bite off a little bit more than he could chew, and Schnell's going to take him into deep water.
Okay, interesting take. Trevor Peak versus Yanal Ashmouz, Red Fox. This is an interesting one. So my big thing, you want to take it away, Alex, right? Yeah, go ahead. Let's pick them. -110 each way.
Ashmouz second round KO.
Ashmouz second round KO. My thing is I don't like that Trevor Peak took Muhammad Yahya to a decision 10 months ago. We just saw Muhammad Yahya fight, and it was the worst performance I'd ever seen. He might be the worst fighter on the entire fucking roster, the way that he fought against Caio Fernandez. He didn't land or throw a punch. He got fucking beaten the shit out of and finished in the first round. He looked slow. He looked pathetic. I don't know how the hell Trevor Peak took him to a decision, but he did use his wrestling in that fight. I could kind of see him. I could see Trevor Peak stepping on the gas a little bit more. Obviously, that's how he fights, getting some takedowns, throwing some leather. But ultimately, I think Yanal Ashmouz has been a little bit more impressive to me. Trevor Peak sure is exciting. He sure wants to win. He goes hard. I could see him winning this fight for sure. But I don't know. I got to go with though. I didn't know that it's been a year and a month since that loss to Chris Duncan. You got to wonder what took Yanal so long to get back in there. He's fighting out of Israel. He's from Israel. Yeah, maybe something to do with all the hullabaloo going on there. It makes that a little tougher. The layoff, the time off makes it a little bit tougher for me. This is a really tough one. I don't want anything to do with this one. I don't know enough about Red Fox. I don't know enough about Trevor Peak. I want to sit back and watch this one and really learn about both guys here. I like that, Trevor Peak went to war with Marotte and had really good moments and almost finished him and was beating the shit out of him there. Charlie Campbell. What do we know about Charlie Campbell? He's an 8-2 guy. He fights out of the Longo and Weidman MMA. Not that impressive after what we see from Bazookia, right? This is tough. He also lost to Chris Duncan, who beat Ashmouz, and he was finished by him on the Contender Series. I'm going to go Ashmouz, but going to be nervous the whole damn time when Trevor Peak is slinging them fucking meat hawks at, meat cleavers at him.
I'm going to take Trevor Peak here. I think he's got a little bit more firepower than Yanal. It's really as much breakdown as I could give this one. I mean, they both just throw bombs at each other. I like Trevor Peak. I think he's got a little bit faster hands, got a little bit more techniques going on, standing hammer fists and all that. So I think it's just going to come down to volume and just bigger guy, more physical. I don't know. That's all I got for Trevor Peak.
Okie dokie. Next, we got Rongzhu versus Chris Taco Padilla. Padilla is a +205 underdog, 28 years old. He is going to be 5'9" with 1.5 inch reach advantage. I like the underdog here. I like Chris Padilla. I don't know what people are smoking. The only UFC fight this guy's had, I think, was against Iggy Bahamundez. Yeah, he's got 2 losses. He lost to Rodrigo Vargas. He lost to Iggy Bahamundes, and he has a UFC win against. I don't even see who his UFC win is again. Is it just this road to UFC fight? I'm sorry. Oh, Brendan Jenkins. So that's nobody I can rate right now. He's 16-10. He's the human highlight reel, and Rongzhu, finished him in round 3. The human highlight reel. What does that tell you? He swings for the fences, gasses himself out, and then got finished in round 3. I don't see that. Chris Padilla, I think he can get a win here. I don't rate Rongzhu. I'm going with Chris Padilla.
You got anything, Alex?
Yes, I'm going with Chris Padilla as well. Super impressed with his quick disposal of Yanal after, very short notice. I mean, we broke that fight down and Yanal was fighting somebody else, and we break it down on Monday. So Chris Padilla had to get that call on Tuesday, Wednesday, and he went out there and disposed of Yanal pretty quickly. So I'm going to go with Chris Padilla on this one.
All right, you got me convinced. I'll go with Chris Padilla as well. Didn't do too much on this fight, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I just don't fade. I fade the Chinese fighters who've only fought other Chinese fighters for the most part. Rongzhu, most of his fights come out of. He's got 16 wins in the promotion. Wu Lin Fang. And then his road to UFC 3-0, but it's like 21 of his fights are against relative nobodies. His path to victory seems to be by knockout. Padilla, I don't think, has ever been knocked out, or at least not very often. I think that Padilla has more ways to win. Rongzhu has 4 submission losses. Give me Padilla by submission. So that'll take us into.
Yeah, I also thought sub round 1 myself. Because Rongzhu, how can it be wrong by Zhu?
Well, one time I went to the DC Zoo, but we were supposed to go to the Baltimore Zoo, and I was at the wrong zoo. So,
but when 2 wrongs make a right, the wrong is on Zoo.
Yeah, the raw. It was yeah. Let this one die. Ryan Spann coming off 3 fucking losses in a row, getting knocked out by Bogdan Guskov 3 months ago in a fight that I called to a T. I showed you guys the Anthony Smith Ryan Spann fight. I showed you where Anthony was landing, even though that fight was a split decision. Even though I showed you that if Anthony's landing here with his pillow hands, Bogdan's going to connect in all these same moments, and he did, and he finished Ryan Spann. You'll never catch me betting Ryan Spann as a -300 favorite, especially against my boy Ovin St. Preux. Took John Jones to a decision. I don't know. I think this is a clear get Ryan Spann a win type of situation when you're giving him a guy 8 years his elder. You're giving him a guy who is spotty to say the least, got 17 losses versus 10 losses. Tanner Boser knocked out Ovin St. Preux. Felipe Lins knocked out Ovin St. Preux. He took Shogun to a split decision in Shogun's twilight era. He took Kennedy and Chukwi to a split decision in his last fight. I think that we see OSP lose, but I'm not taking Ryan Spann as a -300 favorite. Wouldn't even know how to bet him. Wouldn't know if it's by a decision, gas issues. I would love to see OSP win, so I'm just going to sit back and root for OSP. Ryan Spann, relatively unlikable. So give me OSP. Ryan Spann, but no bet.
I'm gonna go Ryan Spann here. I can't take OSP. I know Alex will. That's his boy, but Ryan Spann at least has got some juice in the tank. Way more athletic at this point in his career, and still got some pop. So
is he though?
Yeah,
I think OSP is fucking. He's an athlete. He's a better athlete. He's a football player. He's fucking.
He was a football player like 15 years ago, but now he can barely move.
Ryan Spann.
And at that time, Tennessee was ass.
Well, he still, Ryan Spann couldn't have made the team.
I don't know.
You think he wouldn't have wanted a damn scholarship?
No, you are correct. You are correct. Or that is correct. But I'm gonna go with Ryan Spann begrudgingly. First round knockout of OSP. I think the best way to hedge your bets in this is put split decision OSP or submission OSP on the other side, and bet Ryan Spann by brutal knockout.
Or just plus 240, OSP, $100 to win 240, and then whatever Ryan Spann.
I think the only way he wins is by submission or decision. He's not knocking out Ryan Spann.
We'll take submission or decision then. But Ryan Spann was knocked out 3 months ago, man. OSP might just land on that.
But I think if you just bet split decision, regardless of which way it goes, it's usually like plus 1,500. Regardless.
I think there's a way with 2 or 3 bets to make sure you win money no matter what. But, it's like you got to take the juicy sides of it. You got to take Ryan Spann.
I'm saying you can bet split decision without picking an outcome for like plus 1,500. So if there are some of these fights that you think are going to be super close, you can bet outcome being split decision without having to pick a side.
Right, but I'm not going to get into the business of trying to predict what these fucking refs are going to do. You know what I mean?
But you might as well. You might as well. Because Diaz rules, Luke. Diaz rules don't count when the bet slip comes up red, baby. You want it to come up green. You got to think what these refs are going to think. You got to think that, okay, this is a man's fight, so takedowns don't matter as much as they do in ladies' fights. You got to think about the guy who's landing the more thudding shots. That's why, if you ask me, Israel Adesanya won every round except for round 2 in the fight against DDP. If you ask me, somebody watching the fight live, I thought DDP was down. All the refs there scored it for DDP because DDP was landing harder punches. It doesn't matter about volume anymore. It doesn't matter about cleaner strikes. It just matters who's the guy aggressing forward, who's the guy throwing the harder punches, and who is the guy that is going to get a reaction from his opponent. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with you. Yeah, it's tough. Well, shall we certify Ryan Spann begrudgingly? Okay. Jackie Amorim versus Vanessa Demopoulos. Her initials are VD, and you might. Nah, I'm kidding. You might get it if you. Nah, we're kidding. We're kidding, Vanessa. We're kidding.
Former stripper. Fact.
Fighting out of Las Vegas. Greece. Anyway, comedy. So, Amorim is going to have a sizable reach advantage, 9 inches, which is what Vanessa prefers. All right, listen, this is getting crazy. Okay. This is getting crazy.
Cheer me up, babe. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Huh?
You know that's the guy from Van Halen, right?
Yeah. I want to rock and roll all night. He played that.
And party every day. Yeah, of course.
All
we
right,
didn't start the
Alex, what
fire.
an idiot.
My favorite Van Halen song, Kiss from a Rose. And have you ever seen a kiss? Or no, sorry. Every rose has its thorn. What am I thinking? No, fuck. That's Guns N' Roses. All right, never mind. We're getting confused here. Okay.
Poison.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. You're a real name. You're a real name that tuner. Okay. It's really more impressive what I did there, which was to chain together the wrong answers. Like, you know what I mean?
I totally missed it.
Knowing the right answer. Like, I obviously knew the right answer to all of those, but I was chaining
I actually thought you were that
wrong answers. No, I'm not that dumb. I know more music than you. We could go toe to toe and name that tune any day. I guarantee I'd be you.
Name that tune.
Let's play Name That Tune versus each other.
Every kiss to a rose.
Dan, I would smoke you and name that tune. You might have one niche of it. Like if we did one category, maybe, but if we're spanning all sorts of stuff, I cover the space of music way better than you do. Come on.
Let's do 90s sitcoms.
You couldn't name one Little Yachty song.
Yeah, I could.
Say it.
You couldn't name one crooner song. I guarantee Dan, all he listens to is crooners all day long. You know,
What do you mean, crooners?
Frank Sinatra. He's a
Type in
crooner.
Little Yachty. I took a walk to Poland.
No, guys, crooning is a type of music. Frank Sinatra was a crooner, guys. You guys know nothing of music. You don't even have a microphone. How could you know anything about music? So you want to talk about Name That Tune? I can tell you every kiss from a rose has its thorn. So don't even tell me, okay?
Listen, your shirt is given brat, so
I'm a brat myself.
Okay, so it's an obvious fade on Vanessa Demopoulos here. She's 6 years older. They fight at 115. She's 35. We're gonna fade 170 pounders at 35. We're definitely gonna fade. Although with Angela Hill's most recent performance, it doesn't seem to matter as much, right? And she's coming off of 2 wins over the last year. Kanako Marotte by decision.
Angela Hill won. Hell no.
But
Angela Hill, athlete, she won. Hell no.
On what?
Angela Hill is an athlete. She won Hohendow.
I don't know what you're talking about. But listen, I'm going
Vanessa
with,
Demopoulos is an admitted stripper. That's what I mean by Hohendow.
Wasn't hoeing though. Okay, I got you. Couldn't read your lips. So I'm looking at Vanessa and I'm looking at Jackie. I'm going with Jackie Amorim. Yeah, simple as that.
Amorim I love, Amorim I see, Amorim I love.
And I'm taking it to win by finish.
I'm taking Jackie O.
There's only one finisher here, and it's the girl who, over her last 5 fights, knee bar, arm bar, KO, arm bar. I see her submitting Vanessa Demopoulos for sure. Sam Hughes is nobody that you should be ashamed for losing to at the end of the day, because no matter how many times they make this girl an underdog, she comes out, and if there's one dog on the card that's going to win, you can guarantee it's Sam Page. So, and that was the case the last time she fought. She was the only underdog that won.
Not so fast. I disagree on outcome. You get a girl who has the background of a Vanessa Demopoulos. Those joints are flexible. This is not going to be
when you look into it,
this is not going to be a submission win. This is going to be Amorim by decision.
Okay, Amorim by decision. All right, I'll take a look at that. Did Dan pick?
Yeah, he picked Amorim. He said Jackie O.
Jackie O, that's what he said. Okay. Next, we got Isaac Dulgarian, the Midwest Chopper, coming off a loss to Christian Rodriguez by split decision. C-Rod, who is impressing a lot of people with his career so far 5 months ago. And what a fight that was. I thought
it was a robbery.
I thought Dulgarian won that. You got Brandon Marotte. He's from the New England Cartel. You guys know my opinion about the New England Cartel. Tyson Chartier should be put in the stocks and have tomatoes thrown at him. I will celebrity box Tyson Chartier, okay? So I'm going to talk all this shit, but I'll back it up. I will dojo raid you, Tyson Chartier, and I will fucking slap box you. I'll fight under any rule set against Tyson Chartier, and I will smoke him, because he should be in jail for the way that he trains his fighters. He's training them only to do one thing, and that's take a fucking prolonged ass whooping. All of his guys, all of his New England dumbasses, all of his Boston strongmen, get the shit kicked out of him. He is not a coach, but instead a fraud. You want to talk shit about poor Diego Sanchez's coach, my fucking guy? What's my guy's name, Alex? That beautiful coach. What's his name?
Fuck. You put me on the spot. Keep going.
Keep my tongue. Josh.
Fabian.
Joshua Fabian is 10 times the coach Tyson Chartier has ever been, and I got to keep my voice down. Joshua Fabian would beat Tyson Chartier in a fight.
He got Diego Sanchez a win against Michel Pierre.
Yeah, he would beat Paul Felder in a fight. He would beat Tyson Chartier in a fight. He would beat them in a breath holding contest. He would beat them in a hanging upside down like a bat contest. He would beat them in anything, okay? You want to meditate, bro? Meditation for meditation? I guarantee Fabio whoops your ass. So, yeah, I love that he's a plus 1,000 fucking underdog here. I kind of want to bet him, because maybe he'll fucking pull Diego Sanchez against Michel Pereira. Maybe he'll pull a Cody the no contest Brundage over here. But no.
And how good is Cody Brundage after seeing how good Zach Reese did last week?
Yeah, he's amazing, Cody Brundage. So my thing is this. Brendan Marotte, the kid, nobody in the UFC should be a plus 1,050 underdog. Nobody. Nobody in the UFC should be a minus 2,500 favorite as Isaac Dulgarian is. Nobody. So, I mean, shit, if I'm betting this fight, if you said, Luke, you can only make one bet, I'd rather fucking bet Marotte. At the end of the day, he has 10 fights. Dulgarian has 7 fights. What has Dulgarian done? Was it against Jesse Everett, 2-3? Was it against Ray Ostrander, 1-1? Was it against TJ Britton, 7-2? Was it against Frankie Marshall, 7-1? Maybe. Frankie Marshall's pretty good, but like, is he that good? Like, it's like we don't know anything about him either. He's 7-1. So was it against Christian Rodriguez, 10-1? Like, none of these guys have fought anybody. If you give me Jesse Everett, I KO him. If you give me Ray Ostrander, I submit him with a fucking rear naked choke. So it's like, yeah, he's doing good things and he looks good. But it's like, if you say, Luke, do a backflip off a trampoline. Okay, now do a backflip on the flat ground. It's like, he's doing backflips off trampolines. He's not doing backflips off flat ground. So I don't know. I mean, this is crazy to me. This is... It makes it not even fun. You know what I mean? What am I supposed to do here? What are we even doing here? So a line this size?
Any of size.
I can't do it. My takeaway is even though I hate New England Cartel, plus 1,000 in the UFC is a bet you should it shouldn't exist in the UFC. So this ain't boxing. This ain't Jake Paul Misfits Fight Championship. I'm going with the Dulgarian chopper because he's a Targaryen. He's got the dragon. He rides it on the dragon. I love him. I thought he beat C-Rod, who people are fairly impressed with, it seems. So give me Dulgarian, but it won't even be on the perfect parlay at these odds. It won't even be on the fucking perfect parlay at these odds. So we'll have to find a way to bet it, I guess. I mean, even here's the thing, at a minus 2,500 favorite, even if you do outcome based, you're not getting a good value. It's not a bettable fight. It has been pillaged. It is unable to be bet. If you're betting this, you are insane in the membrane. So I'll take
insane in the brain.
For the pick, I'll take Dulgarian. I just hope that he smashes him from pillar to post and makes Tyson Chartier look even worse than he already does.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dulgarian myself. I'm going to go with Dulgarian by finish. I'm going to bet both ways on this finish because, like Luke said, there's no way to get a good...
minus 500 for that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no way to get good odds on this fight. So,
and like I said, if there's one thing Tyson Chartier can coach this guy to, it's to take a fucking prolonged ass beating, so it might be a decision.
It just could be. Yeah, but... I think this guy gets finished for sure. You know, he's even on strikes and submissions, so it really is going to be even either way, which way you bet on it. So I'm going with Dulgarian.
I will also go with Dulgarian.
Okay, moving on. We have
and he's going to have more urgency to get the finish because he got robbed in that last fight, is what I really think.
And we have one guy with an actual coach, a competent in Tony Montoya. No, Mark Montoya. And then we have an actual fraud coach worse than Josh Fabia in Tyson Chartier. So
Tyson Chartier, I take this next one away? I have
respond. Tyson Chartier, respond. Go ahead. Take it away.
Beat Tyson Chartier's ass, please, for me.
Respond, Tyson. Respond. You're a bitch. And you train guys. You should be put in jail for the way that you negligently train these guys. It's as if a doctor leaves a scalpel in somebody's fucking spleen when he does surgery on him. It's like a fucking doctor saying, I'm going to prescribe cyanide to you. That's the equivalence of you doing your job in there, which is to protect these guys. Protect yourself at all times. Defend yourself at all times. You walk into Tyson Chartier's gym, there's a sign that says, head movement need not apply.
Can I get the nitrous today? Andre Lima versus Felipe Dos Santos.
If you can communicate this product, you can make money off the product.
Andre Lima, Felipe Dos Santos. You know, I was super unimpressed with Dos Santos in his first fight. Super impressed with him in his first. But, you know, I'm just going to go with Santos here just because I'm going to act like that last fight didn't happen. I'm going to act like I'm still impressed with how he handled Manel Kape. Almost finished Manel Kape a couple times. Almost won that fight. Andre Lima missed weight in his last fight and went to a split decision with a guy you've never even heard of.
He did not almost finish Manel Cop. He got the shit beat out of him by Manel Cop. What are you talking about? What fight did you watch? That was when Manel Cop called out Kai Kara afterwards. That was a fucking ass whooping.
He came in on 2 days' notice because
doesn't matter.
Because Kai Kara started seeing flashing lights.
What would 4 weeks change in that fight? Is he going to be all of a sudden more skilled at striking in 4 weeks? No.
Apparently not. That's what we found out in his last fight. But I'm going to act like that last fight didn't happen and he's going to come and rise to the occasion because Andre Lima honestly didn't look super impressive in his last fight. And he also missed weight. And he also took a guy that he shouldn't have taken to a decision and a split decision at that. So this is a real crossroads between Andre Lima and Dos Santos here, because taking Mitch Raposo to a split decision is nothing I love. I'm not in love with Mitch Raposo. Let's just say that.
No, I feel you. I feel like both.
If you're getting beat the shit out of by homeboy with the turquoise in Albuquerque, Ricky Turquoise. Yeah. Yes. If you're getting whooped by Ricky Turquoise, then you have serious issues, my friend.
Well, let me say this. Both these guys need to stop fighting like they're in sparring matches and start fighting like they want to get a finish. Fight like these guys are in your fucking house, in your grill, in your backyard. And let's actually make weight, Lima. So you missed weight by 5
That didn't help Anthony Smith, though. He tried that against Johnny Walker.
That's true. It didn't help. But it's like fight like you want to fucking finish this guy and you don't feel like just being out there for 15 fucking minutes having a sparring match and a learning experience. So they both have had relatively similar careers. I think that Lima was losing the fight he got bit in, to be honest with you, when the fight happened. So I'm going to go with Dos Santos here. I like the plus money. I like the reach advantage. I like shoot the box Diego Lima. I like the blonde hair. I like that he's going to come in here. He's Charles Oliveira, training partner, right? Yeah, Charles Oliveira, Du Bronx. These guys bring it. I'm going with Dos Santos. Love the plus money, and also just want to see more out of both these guys. So we're going to cut both of them. I'm going to call. I got Hunter Campbell's number. I got Sean Shelby's number. I got all these guys' numbers. I'm going to call them.
I like Dos Santos as well. Lima was not impressive for me in his last fight. He landed like 20 leg kicks and that's it. And then the other guy landed like nothing. So he won the fight. But previous to that, Lima was pretty hyped up. I'm going to have to see more before I bet him as the favorite again. I like Dos Santos here. So give me some plus money here on the doggy. That's about it. I got to see more out of Lima. Massive disappointment.
Next, we got Yizha versus Gabriel Santos. His nickname is Mosquitino, right? But if you look at it, it looks like it says Mosquitinho. Like, so most quit in him, right? Like he's got quit in him, right? He's got 2 fights in the UFC, lost both of them. One was to the Miracle. Lerone Murphy took him to a split decision. One was to David Unam. I got knocked out with that uppercut and finished. Yizha has not yet fought in the UFC. He's been on the road to the UFC. Well, no, sorry. He fought Jiyoung Lee a year and 6 months ago in the UFC. But I don't know. I think that, North America, he's ranked number 1 out of active North American pro featherweights. He's ranked number 1 out of US West. He's ranked number 1 out of Asia Southeast. He's ranked number 1 out of 24 active Nevada pro featherweights regionally. So he's got 1 UFC loss. He's got 5 straight road to UFC wins. Jiyoung Lee, the Korean Tiger, we've seen how good he is. He's a fucking beast. But went in there with Hader, he beat Blake Builder, but went in there with Hader Emil and got knocked out in a fight he was a favorite in, kind of just going toe to toe with, Hader Emil in that crazy slugfest. So I think I want to fade Gabriel Santos here. Winless in the UFC. I don't want to just go the route of, he did beat Elvis Brenner in 2020, unanimous decision. Man, this is a tough one to call. A lot of mystery here. Want to see a lot out of both these guys, but you got a submission guy against Yizha. Santos is a submission guy. I don't like his braces. I don't like his smile. I don't like his face. Yizha, he's a submission guy too. So if you're telling me that you got this Brazilian guy, you can't get a win, and his path to victory is submissions, versus a more well-rounded submission artist in Yizha. Give me Yizha and give me the juice. Give me the underdog odds. More experience, more wins, more to prove, more to do. He might just send Santos packing. Like I said, he looks like the guy from Chips. Who's the guy from Chips? Ricky Estrada, is that his name? Chips. Yeah, Eric Estrada, dude. Yo, all right, let me show this guy. Eric. Hold on. Go ahead. You can talk, Dan. I'm going to pull this up while you're talking. Dan?
Bad. I'm here. I'm going with Santos. Still hanging on to that loss to Lerone Murphy. Looked incredible. David Onama, you take an uppercut. Happens to the best of us. But I still have to believe in the talent that I saw that fateful night in England. Away territory. I like Santos here. Again, we're going with kind of these unknown, unproven Chinese talents from road to UFC. Got to see it with my own eyes first. So got to go with Santos here. I saw the talent. It will be on display next Saturday.
So look, this is Eric Estrada. This is Eric Estrada on the left. This is Eric Estrada. This is Gabriel Santos.
Not even close.
Eric Estrada. Gabriel Santos. He looks like fucking Eric Estrada. Terrible braces.
He looks more like Sammy Sosa.
He does look like Bobby Abreu.
No.
Anywho, I'm going with Santos as well.
Oh, he's more of a Bobby Abreu than a Sammy Sosa, dude. Look at this. Am I still sharing my screen? Am I still sharing it? Yeah. Look, boom, boom. Bobby Abreu. Yeah, he looks like Sammy Sosa, too. He looks a lot like Sammy Sosa. All right. Enough fooling around.
All right. I'm going with Santos. You look at this guy and you look at his record, right? And yes, it is very good. But yes, it is very padded. When Wolf Wars was going by Wolf Wars, he didn't lose a single fight. And a lot of the guys he was fighting, 1-1, 5, 6, and 13. This guy is 5'6" and has 13 no contests when he fought him in 2016. So let's see this guy's
13
record
no contests. He's giving fucking Cody Brundage a run for his own nickname.
7, 16, and 13 is this guy's record right now. Sayo date to Sayo date. It is 7, 16, and 13. So
for drugs every time he fights afterwards, fail the drug test every time.
After he loses, apparently, I have no idea what's going on here. 1-1, 3-6, 1-0, 5-2, 0-1, 7-6, 1-1, loss to a 14-5. Notice the only fight he had out of Wolf Wars in his first 9 fights, he loses, or his first 10 fights, he loses. Then wins again in Wolf Wars to a 4-16 opponent. 3-1 wins again. 4-7 wins again. Fights a 5-10 out of Wolf Wars again. This is only his 3rd time out of Wolf Wars. Yes, he got a win outside of Wolf Wars, but it was only against a 4-7 opponent at that time. And it was against a 5-10 opponent. He loses via heel hook in the first round. He wins again in Wolf Wars 8-7. Then wins again in Wolf Wars 0-3-1. Wins in a different organization 26-9. But who knows in this region? Wolf Wars 10-3, Wolf Wars 4-7, Wolf Wars 2-2, Wolf Wars 11-10. Loses when they transition to Wolf MMA to a guy who's 24-11. So after all of that, guys, can you just say that all of these wins are bullshit? Okay, the 14-1 record coming out of Wolf MMA / Wolf Wars. He was fucking somebody's daughter at Wolf Wars before. They were feeding him 4-7 opponents, The one guy was 16-13 today. Today, that guy's record, 2-16-13. That's fucking crazy. This Wolf Wars is bullshit. I'm going with Santos. That was a long-winded way to go with Santos, but it was worthwhile because if it didn't transition you to Santos, I don't know what will.
Hell no, I ain't picking no Santos. I don't like his face, dude.
No Santos, Dos Santos. Luke ain't taking either.
I'm taking Dos Santos.
Oh, okay.
No. All right, Andrade Petroski versus Dylan Budka.
Who the fuck cares? They're the same guy. Dumbasses from the Mid-Atlantic region. Both
No,
suck.
he's from Ohio. Budka's
No. Budka's from Maryland. No?
I don't know. But look, I don't like betting Andrade as this big of a favorite. The guy's a gasser. He gassed against Mershar, couldn't finish him. Fremd, he beat Fremd. That was a decision. He got knocked out by Malkoon, got knocked out by Pereira. I'm going to go with the mindless Hawk, Dylan Budka, to put Andrade away and knock his ass out. But if that doesn't happen, Petroski will submit him. So it's either Petroski submission, Budka knockout. Bet them both and see what happens. Have a fun time with it. But yeah, I'm not really impressed by either.
I got to go with Budka. Just because the second fight in the UFC, there's almost always a bump from these guys. You come off for a loss in your debut. Second fight, a little bit better than you were your first. So I'm anticipating the best version of Budka. I'm anticipating Petroski to kind of make a boneheaded mistake or gas out or something like that, and Budka to capitalize. So pretty sizable dog here. Are we in the plus 200 range? I'll check it out, but I'm liking Budka, and it's also like a gut feeling type deal for me. So Budka plus 240, solid dog, love it.
Dylan Budka had a tough stylistic matchup in his last out. I think he wins this one. Andrade Petroski got knocked out by a hip. Let us not forget. So if your wrestling is so good that it knocks yourself out, knock yourself out as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to go with Budka. I think Budka has comparable wrestling. I think he's going to be able to keep it on the feet, and he's going to be putting Andrade Petroski on chin notice for sure. All fight, laying him back, hitting him in the body, hitting him all over the place. I don't know if he gets the finish, but I think he wins this fight for sure. These guys are virtually identical. I think they have really good grappling, but Dylan Budka just has a little bit better striking.
He's the mindless Hulk. He's going to just come forward mindlessly and take 5 to give 5, and hopefully probably get the knockout. So, but Petroski's going to have a lot of pressure to start the night off good for him and his boy. He's coming there with his boy. They're training. They're peaking together. I think honestly the smart move is just Petroski by submission, Petroski by decision maybe. But yeah, it seems like Petroski could probably get this win and really want to get this win a lot. I just it's the second fight of the night. It won't be in all my parlays, but I'll take a little individual dog shot on Budka by knockout. Why not? Hedge off with Petroski in some capacity, decision or submission maybe. So see if I can get even money at that, and then go from there. A fight I'm prepared to be wrong about, but you get knocked out by a hip 4 months ago and knocked out by more than a hip 10 months ago. It's too many knockouts to be in there with a guy named the Mindless Hawk. And, the Fremd win didn't really impress me, especially when Fremd gets tossed around by some guys and beat up by guys.
I'm starting to think Lucas is getting who's the guy who did the fake knockout against not Makayev. The guy who's calling for the title shot against Pierre right now. Ankalaev. Who was the guy who did the Romanian guy?
Ian Kutalaba.
I think Luke's getting a little Ian Kutalaba right now. I'm thinking I gotta switch. He's fallen in love with the Mindless Hulk.
Yeah,
it's in the name.
He paint himself green like the Hulk. Kutalaba. All right, well, you were wrong about this one. So you picked Fletcher in that one parlay. You better be happy that he got medically pulled out, because I saw these guys weigh in. Fletcher looked like 5 pounds of shit in a 3-pound bag on that scale. These are 135 pounders. Ramaska is coming down from 145 in his last fight. He's 5'11". He's a stud. He's 27. He's from Lithuania. He's got knockout wins 3 in a row. I think that he maybe gets a fourth. It seems like Fletcher is submission guy. I think he probably could get it done, but he's from England. He doesn't have no wrestling. He's not getting the fight to the ground. I think Ramaska by knockout. Really the only thing that's a question mark is that Fletcher's destiny was to lose on Saturday. And now he's got 2 weeks to get his mind right, get healthy, get clear for this one. But he would have lost had he walked into that octagon last weekend. So I'm going with Ramaska. He was an underdog the first time. It was a slight underdog the first time. I wonder if they'll keep him there, knowing his opponent pulled out. It was medically unfit to fight. So give me the Lithuanian, Zalglamanatas Ramaska.
Don't know how, don't know why. I'm going with Nathan Fletcher. It was something that called my name last week. I knew Nathan Fletcher was going to win that fight, but both these guys are medically inept. They don't know how to keep their bodies healthy. So who the fuck knows if this fight's going to happen? Because Ramaska, his fight got canceled on the last episode of The Ultimate Fighter. No fight even happened on the last fight of The Ultimate Fighter, the finale, because he pulled out. Or not pulled out. He was pulled out by the doctors, which was weird because his hands were wrapped and everything. But they said due to the damage he took in the last fight in the Ultimate Fighter, he couldn't compete in the semifinals to go to the finale. But I'm going to go with Fletcher here. Although he lost on the Ultimate Fighter, I just have some weird feeling that he wins. I heard of him before he was on the Ultimate Fighter. I know he's good. I think he wins this fight. Never heard of the other guy beforehand, but who knows? He could be the next Valentina Shevchenko.
I'm going to go with my buddy Alex, who knows way more tunes than his brother Luke. Way more tunes. And I think he's tuned in on this one. I think he's got his ear to this one. I'm going with Nathan Fletcher. I'm going with the gut feeling of my friend's gut feeling.
Luke, name any song ever.
The Star Spangled Banner.
Heard it.
All right. So we'll take everybody through top to bottom. Did we get Dan? Well, I guess we'll get it when he runs through his full card picks. But if you're going with me, Sean Brady, Jessica Andrade, Kyle Nelson, Alex Costa, Alessandro Costa, whatever, Nono, Yanal Ashmouz, Chris Padilla, Ryan Spann, Jackie Amorim, Isaac Dulgarian, Felipe Dos Santos, Yizha, Dylan Budka, and Z Ramaska.
All right, I'm going with the bottom, and I'm going to skip over Alex. We're going with Nathan Fletcher, Dylan Budka, Gabe Santos, Felipe Dos Santos, Isaac Dulgarian, Jackie O, Jacqueline Amorim, Ryan Spann, Chris Padilla, Trevor Peak, Alessandro Costa, Kyle Nelson, Natália Silva, and Sean Brady.
And if you're rolling with me, you're going Brady, Andrade, Garcia, Schnell, Ashmouz, Padilla, Spann, Amorim, Dulgarian, Santos.
You picked Lima.
No, I didn't. Dos Santos, Budka, and Fletcher. You're wrong. I didn't pick Lima.
Trophy certified picks Sean Brady. Sean Brady, Chris Padilla, underdog number 1, Triple E certified. Ryan Spann, Jackie Amorim, Isaac Dulgarian, Felipe Dos Santos, slight dog number 2, Triple B certified. And Dylan Budka, dog number 3, Triple B certified. With that, folks, you have our picks. We will be coming in next week to do a pick for the Sphere. We're going to give you some early picks for the Sphere. But for the most part, we're going to have a nice long runway for this card and a nice long runway for the Sphere. We'll do any amendments next week when we come in to do the Sphere prediction, since we don't have a card to recap this fine weekend, Labor Day. Enjoy your Monday off of work if you have it. I'm going to be with Dan, hanging out in Baltimore. We're going to be having a fun little weekend, little Saturday for the boys type of activities. But, enjoy whatever you guys got going on this weekend. Last gasps of summertime. Hug your loved ones. We got a long stretch of many events in a row after this one little break week we got. So let's get it.
Last gasp of summertime, last gasp of nitrous.
I mean,
If you can communicate this product, you can make money off the product.
Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
That's fucking illegal.
peace. I love you guys. Pray for my finger. Pray for my middle finger. Pray for me during my fast. I'm going to need your guys' support for this 3-day fast. I'm going to need your support just like Jesus. I'm going without food. I'm going to go into the wilderness. I'm going to go into the mountains. I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to come back to you next Monday stronger than you've ever seen me. I'm going to come back stronger. I love you. Thank you all very much for joining the show.